If you've owned Photoshop for any length of time, you probably have fooled around, played around with the filters in this program. Over 100 of them. Some are pretty common. They kind of make sense, like a blur filter blurs and a sharpen filter sharpens. But some of them are not quite as easy to understand. And if you use them the right way, you can have a lot of fun. And one of those is the high pass filter. Do this. Open up this image, hold down the control key, and click on this one, and then double click. That opens both of them at the same time. Let's start with this one right here of the big wheel in London. And what I want to do is show you a creative use for the high pass filter. Make a copy of the background. The easiest way is Control J. Love that feature. On the copy, go up to the word filter on the pull down menu and go down to high pass. It's under the word other, right there. Now that's kind of what it does to the image. If you keep going this way with it, you can come up with some really interesting kind of looks. What we want here is something about like that, where there's almost like a whisper of the image. Click OK. Now, let me bring layers over so we can see this easier. Change the blending mode of that layer to hard light. Now it's easier to see if I turn it on and off. What it's doing is it's creating a sharper image. As a matter of fact, these are high-res images. Check that out. I'm going to turn it off and then turn it back on. See how you get more detail in some of these areas? I really like having the ability to be able to sharpen something without just simply a traditional sharpening tool. Now let's go ahead and take that back down to normal. Let's go to this one right here. Now we're going to do somewhat the same thing. We're going to make a copy. And we're going to go to the word filter and go down to high pass again. Maybe a little bit more, but not much. Just want like a whisper of the image left there. Go ahead and click OK. Now what we want to do next is go to the word image adjustments and go down to threshold. And maybe lower that down just a little bit. And click OK. What I'm trying to do here is create almost like a line sketch effect. So that's what I'm achieving by doing high pass, but we could add a little bit to this. For example, let's create a blank layer underneath this one. In this layer, fill it with like a sepia brown maybe. And I come over here and click one of these lighter colors. Hold down the Alt key and press the backspace key, which is a shortcut for doing that. And there it is. Now select layer 1, that's our sketch, and change the blending mode to multiply. And if that's a little bit intense, what you could try is putting one more layer above background, just a blank one. Fill that with white. Now white's my background color. I can press Control backspace and actually fill it with white. So that when I do this, come back to this one and begin lowering the opacity because I don't quite like that intensity. I can lower the opacity and it'll lower it back into the white. But if we turn that off, we'll begin getting some of the color of the original, and again, if that's something you want to do. Or we could even try something like, let's do this. We've got that brown over here as our foreground color. Let's come over here and pick up a lighter shade of cyan. And I'm making the background color cyan by holding the Control key down when I clicked over here. Maybe picking up our gradient tool and trying a gradient. Let's go the other way. Just having some fun. But the high pass filter is really good for sharpening. It's also pretty cool for doing things like I call woodcuts or sketch effects. On to the next.